One morning in February of 1987, a 45-year-old woman named Janet Overton stood in front of her bathroom mirror inside of her home in Dana Point, California. Janet was a member of the board for the school district that her 17-year-old son attended, and she had a big meeting that day. She was pale and exhausted, and she had these big dark circles under her eyes. It's because the last couple of days, she'd felt really sick, kinda out of nowhere. She just caked on more makeup, did up her hair, and headed out the door. A few weeks later, Janet suddenly woke up in the middle of the night feeling so nauseous that she ran to the bathroom and vomited. Janet's nausea had gotten so bad and so severe that she basically couldn't eat. She noticed something new. She saw there was this red, scaly rash on her arms, and when she touched it, it really hurt. And so she decided that night she had to go to the ER. The next day, Janet laid in a hospital bed with an IV in her arm and her husband and her son sitting right beside her. But every test they ran came back negative. However, scans of Janet's abdomen did reveal something concrete. She had all these ulcers in her stomach. They had no idea why she was developing these ulcers in the first place. All the doctors could really do for Janet was just treat her symptoms. Several months later, on January 24th, 1988, Janet was at home getting ready for a whale watching trip with her 17-year-old son, and she felt horrible. Ever since leaving the hospital, she had periodically just kept getting sick over and over and over again. So she put on a ton of makeup, she put her hair up, slammed some coffee, and then went downstairs to meet her son. Then the two of them walked over to the car. Right as Janet was about to grab the car door handle, she stood there for a second and then just collapsed. Janet's husband and son immediately rushed Janet to the hospital, but by the time they got there, it was already too late. Janet was dead. They brought in a coroner to do an autopsy, and as soon as the coroner cut open Janet's stomach, he was hit with this smell that was very distinct that instantly told him exactly what had killed Janet. And the police immediately sent detectives to Janet's house, and they began gathering up all these items to be tested. And the results of these tests confirmed the coroner's theory. As Janet got sicker and sicker, she had this mentality of like, I'm gonna push through this thing and not go to the doctor. And so when she was caking on all that makeup every day and chugging all this coffee, that was all just an effort to pretend this wasn't really happening. But what she didn't realize is that the makeup and the coffee were actually killing her. It would turn out there was a deadly chemical in her makeup called selenium, and then in her coffee was cyanide. Cyanide has a very distinctive smell. It smells like almonds. That's what the coroner smelled when he opened up her stomach. But these deadly chemicals did not appear in her makeup and coffee naturally. They were put there by Janet's husband. He believed Janet was having an affair, and so he set out to murder her. He first began placing the selenium in her makeup, and it was slowly killing Janet, but it was not happening fast enough. And so finally, on the day of the whale watching trip, her husband put the cyanide in her coffee, and it killed her pretty much right away. Richard Overton was convicted of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to life in prison. He died behind bars in 2009.